Natalie here today for a cherry on top, and I am scrapbooking some stay home photos. Some of these photos we've been stuck at home these past few weeks. So I'm going to use Shimelle's Never Grow Up collection, which we have a ton of in the store, and that's my color palette. It has a ton of green, which you know is my jam. So I pulled out some bits of the ephemera packet that I think will go well with my photos and that highlight the green color. And then it's going to be a really mixed media heavy layout. So I'm going to move everything off in a moment. And then, yeah, I'm just kind of seeing how I'm going to adhere everything. And I showed you, I'm going to do like a leaf shape kind of in the middle. So I move everything off and I go ahead and add water on my gessoed page just to kind of direct the spray when I put it on. So I spray super close to the page, and that's Don't Citron Me from Shimmers. And so you can see it kind of knows to go where it's already wet on the page. So I add a little more water and I move it around and kind of get a partial shape of what I want, because I'm going to go in with a different color in a few minutes. So I move it around. I definitely like control. I like to tell it where to go. So now I'm going to hit it with my heat tool for a little bit. And then next up, I'm going to add more water and use the Ken Oliver Color Burst. I'm going to use Phthalo Green, and it is so magical. I love these pigmented powders so much. So watch this magic. So you can see with the water that's already on there, it starts to absorb and spread, and then I add a little more water here. And you can see all the different colors that come out. It's not just green. There's blues in there, and it's just so magical. So I don't want to dilute all of those little bits of powder, only some of them. So I do mix them in and rub it around a little bit, but in some of the spots I try to keep the pigment in little pixelated dots because I really love that look. I also use textured cardstock for this for that reason, because it helps isolate the pigments and keep the little individual ink colors individual. So I do that section, and then I decide I need a little bit more up there in the right. So I do another squirt of the powder color. Gosh, I just love it so much. I literally could put this on every layout. And then I dry it a little bit, and I just need a dab down at the bottom too. Just kind of, you know, I like to work with the rule of thirds. That helps the layout feel balanced. So I actually just take some of the pigment from up there in the right section and add it down there in the bottom. Adding additional water will just help pick up the pigment dots that were still up in there. So that's pretty much how I want it. But I am going to go in and add some splatters. So I actually still have some pigment dots on that little test palette that I had. So I'm using that to do tiny little phthalo green splatters. And then I'll go in with the nozzle of Don't Citron Me and add some lime green splatters. And then I also use another dark forest green color from Shimmers to add in some splatters, because that phthalo green in the really concentrated areas is a pretty dark color. And there I just made a splatter that I didn't like. And so that's the beauty of gesso, because you can just wipe it up and it's like it never even happened. So yeah, we're just splattering here. And I'm liking that shape that we have going on. I'll do a close up here in a minute, and I think about turning it upside down. But I keep it this way as I had originally planned, because I did lay out my photos already how I kind of wanted them. Oh, and I do the paper towel technique to pick up some of that color, but I'm so nervous that I'm going to ruin it. So I just do little bits at a time, and then I even rotate the page because I'm heavily right-handed. So, but it worked. It worked. It didn't smudge anything. Doesn't do anything bad. So I love how this turned out. I love that you can see the lines of the paper. Oh, look at that close up. See, and there's where I consider turning it upside down, but then I'm like, nah. So there we have a close-up of all the splatters, watercolor goodness. Oh, I love it so much. So let's add the photos back. So I do, it's not even a grid, well, I guess it's a grid. I don't know, because they all go in all different directions. Anyway, I move the die cuts and the photos around until I'm happy with the layout. And you know, I love to layer, so I'm gonna make sure that the die cuts overlap the photos a little bit. And I do my journaling on that one green bit, and it didn't all fit, but that's okay because I pull out of my stash some tags. I think these tags are I'm going through the die cut ephemera from Never Grow Up, and I am pulling out green bits and just outdoor elements. The boys were just playing in the gravel at our house, so the whole collection just screams little boy and my kids and the way that they play outside. So I grabbed that green label, and just to complete, I had one more sentence of journaling. And so I like it. It kind of gives it an emphasis, the most important last point that I'm making anyway. So I type that or write that down there. And then I just go in with a die cut ephemera and stick it down. And then I will go fill back in with the cardstock stickers. And I like the cardstock stickers because they have a lot of foil on them. In the die cut ephemera, there's also vellum pieces that are super cool. Like they have a jar and it has like little fireflies to put in it. And my kids love to catch fireflies. So I definitely see a layout coming up with that. Gonna see a lot of stay home layouts coming up, huh, aren't we? So, yeah, so I'm just going through the cardstock sticker sheet. I add a couple green leaves just because I do love the way that mixed media looks, but I also want to fill it in and not have empty spaces and not make it look too empty. And already the page is a little bit too white for me. So you'll see here in a moment, I cut off the edges and I trim both of the edges in a tiny strip of the green star paper, which is the other side of that Shimelle sheet I showed earlier. Those stickers are from Pink Fresh Studio. The So Cool collection, I think is what it's called, and they have a lot of green in them too, so I grabbed that, but I end up only using that one fun sticker. But that's another really great collection. I love the colors. It's very boyish. It doesn't have to be for boys, but it's very boyish and I really like it. So yeah, I am trimming off the tiniest bit of paper on the side here, and then I'll rough up the edges, and I try to do a little rip, and like the gesso has made the paper so tough that I can't even rip it, and I kind of have to just cut it and then rough up the edges as though I ripped it. So I do 2 rips on the right and a rip on the left, and just kind of, you know, there we have 3 rolls of 3 again. And I got that cutter out again. I'm not going to cut the paper. I'm using it as like a ruler to make sure that I'm not making my page bigger than 12 by 12, so it will fit in a page protector. So I know that there's a ruler there on that glass mat, but it didn't fit properly in my camera. So anyway, this bit was a little bit of a struggle bus, so I did cut most of it out, but I love how this layout turned out. I have a lot of close-up photos here at the end, and I also am going to put down in the description box all of the links to a cherry on top. We now have affiliate links, so I would really appreciate it if you want to buy something from the store, if you use my affiliate link, and just go shop and buy, and you're home anyway, so craft, y'all. I hope you've been inspired, and thanks for watching. I hope you subscribe and like. Bye, y'all.